It's time for a proper talk about prop shafts. This is the prop shaft from this car, and several knowledgeable people following this build have mentioned that they don't think that this is going to be good enough. To be honest, my knowledge in this area is really lacking, and I really don't know. This shaft itself has a diameter of about 1.25 inches, I'd say, and it's, you know, maybe 2 foot long or something like that. Now, is that adequate? I don't know, but I do understand a little bit about prop shaft failure. What happens is it's almost like a skipping rope, where there's a harmonic wave set up within the shaft itself, and then eventually it just starts to bend and then just fails and shatters. And specifically, some people who've had prop shaft failures have looked at this and gone, that's not really good enough, you should change it. Now, the issue isn't so much weight or mass, because you really want to reduce the mass as much as possible, because it's part of the drivetrain weight, which means it's flywheel weight. But what you do is you make it bigger. By making it bigger with a thinner wall, you make it stiffer, and that way it doesn't move about like a skipping rope. Imagine a Coke can. You know, that's a very thin wall piece of aluminium, but you can almost stand on it and it won't fail because it's very stiff, because it's very big. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk to a specialist. We've been recommended some, and we're going to get one made up. The biggest sticking point of that, though, is that this shaft will get bigger, and it's only just clearing this chassis member here. So this chassis member here is going to have to be cut out and moved. Fortunately, it's not forming one of the main pieces of triangulation at the back of the chassis. So I'm thinking that I can just move it. It's 20 mil thick, and I'm thinking I can just move it 20 mil across so that it's on the inside of the cockpit area rather than the outside, which means that I actually won't reduce any cockpit space at all. And it does give me an extra 40 mil, because it's 20 times 2, 40 mil diameter to play with. So this is about 1.25 inches, it's about 30 mil. And then the extra 40 mil means I'll have 70 mil of space, which I think, looking at some of the loose specifications for prop shafts, will give me enough room to clear the chassis member. I'm not going to make the modification until I know what the prop shaft size is going to be. But yeah, that's the first major sticking point and expense that I'm thinking I'm going to have to spend. And it's for safety, really. You don't want to have that failing and then flailing around the cockpit area, particularly when the driver is sat right next to it, and that driver is going to be me. The other thing we're going to need to add into this as well are some prop shaft restraints, which are completely absent here. They are mentioned in the MSA Blue Book. I think the minimum is 18 SWG, which is about 1.2 millimeter, but I'm going to go with 16 SWG, which is about 1.6 millimeter. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to add them yet, but they are needed, and it's basically to prevent the prop shaft, if it does fail, from flying around. At least try and contain it somewhat within this space.